Now, for those of you that don't know me and haven't seen the little name that's generally in the corner of these boxes on Zoom, my name is Joe Duggan and I am from the Australian National Centre for the Public Awareness of Science. You are joining us as part of the Hands-On Online Science Asia Pacific Workshop Series. Today, I am joining you from Ngunnawal land, the traditional owners from the land that I am meeting on. I'd like to pay my respect to the elders past and present. And now, as I say, I am from the Australian National University, and this program is also part of research that we are conducting. Now, what that means is that, as I said earlier, I will be pushing record on these, and we will be using the recording to help people that can't come along to the session to watch it and learn from it. Also, we may well use it for data so we can turn the mirror back on ourselves and learn how to do better in this sort of engagement. But what I'm going to do really quickly is in the chat, I'm going to share a link to our ethics documentation for anyone that is interested. And if you would like to know more about this, or if you do not want to be part of this recording, that is completely fine. All you have to do is let us know. Fantastic. I'm noticing we've got a few more people steadily coming in. Rajesh, I can see your face. Where are you joining us from, Rajesh? Oh, you're muted. Whilst you're figuring out your mute, that's okay. I'm happy to see Moalan here again, same as last time. That's all right, Rajesh, if you can't unmute, that's okay.
From Fiji.
From Fiji, excellent. Whereabouts, are you locked down at the moment, Rajesh? Are you still
Yes.
Fiji? Is everyone safe and well?
Yes.
I've been thinking of you. It's yeah, it's a difficult time for a lot of people. So our thoughts are with everyone wherever they are in the world going through what they're going through. In Fiji at the moment, what is it, only 6 p.m?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Okay, not too late. Steve, who I'll introduce everyone to in a little bit, he's joining us from South Africa, and I'll let him tell you how little sleep he's got at the moment because of the time difference, but that's fine. Lovely to see you, Rajesh. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
What I'm going to do now, everyone, is I am going to share my screen. And I'm going to take you through a little bit of housekeeping because I'm extremely pleased to see we have some new participants. So you would think by this stage that I would be a master of using Zoom. The sad reality is no, I tend to make the same mistakes every single time. But let's see if I can get it right this time. I'm also cheating because on my table, I've actually got my phone joined into the Zoom meeting. So now I can look down and see what you see. So I'm going okay. I've already mentioned where we are and why we're here. So you can see that on the screen. But there's something that I wanted to remind everyone about that has been here before, but also introduce everyone to that might be new. This might be their first session. Yes, we record the sessions, and after each session, I will send you out a whole raft of information, including a link to this recording. So if you did want to share it amongst your peers or your colleagues, please feel free to. And normally, I have that next line in there for a lot of our sessions, but in this session, Steve informs me it's different. Yes, that chat function is there if you don't have a microphone, let's say. But this time, and again, I'll let Steve unpack it a little bit more, but we want you to interact with us. So please feel free to do that verbally, or if you absolutely must, through the chat. The other thing that I tend to send out to everyone, if this is the first time that you are joining us, is a link to a whole range of ways that you can stay connected to us. That first one there, that is our Facebook page. It's our open Facebook page. Anyone that wants to can be part of that. I'm also going to send you a link to our closed Facebook page, and that is just for people like you, people that have participated in one of our programs and want to stay connected. And that's where you'll find a whole raft of resources relating to other workshops and even other programs that we have run around the world. Now, the other thing that I'm briefly going to touch on, and I can come back to this at the very, very end for anyone that is interested. Last week, we introduced our micro grants competition. Now, because the vast majority of everyone that is joining us here is a teacher, an educator, or a science communicator, we want to give you the opportunity to adopt some of the things that we have covered throughout this workshop series in your classroom or your place of learning. And we're offering micro grants of up to $150. It's a two-part entry process. All you have to do is tell us your idea and how you might implement something in the classroom, and then follow it up. Show us how you did implement it in the classroom and what you found. All the information for that is in much more detail on the closed Facebook group, which I'll send you out a link to. Now, Rajesh, you will know this word, being from Fiji. Kavalangi, is that right? Give me a thumbs up if I've said the right word. Okay, Kavalangi, for our friends that aren't from Fiji, is the white foreigner. And that is what I am. And I want to point that out, and I want to recognize that the way that I do science is not necessarily the way that you do science or technology or engineering or maths. The things that work for me where I work in Australia are not necessarily the things that are going to work for you in your part of the world. What we want to do as part of this series is to just show ways that we have taught or educated or learnt in the past. And we want to learn from you as well. We don't want it all to be one way. This is how you should do science, or this is how you should do maths. We want this to be a two-way thing, and we want to share some ideas and hear back from you about what would work or wouldn't work in your context. I'm going to try and stop sharing my screen now. I think I did it. Look at that, one button. Okay, now without further ado, I don't know. English is my first language, but I like to say that because I actually grew up in Tasmania, which is the island at the bottom of Australia, that I don't have to be that good at English. I'm going to quickly share with you some of those links that I mentioned in the chat. And I'm also, because you'll be able to open these up later on as well, I'm also going to share with you some links to our previous workshops. Now, as I was saying, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Steve Sherman and hand the reins over to him. I've been extremely lucky in that when I was just learning what this thing called science communication or STEM communication or informal learning is, I got to travel to different parts of the world. And one of the places that I got to go to was South Africa. And I got to see this great man in action. And I've never seen someone hold a group of students in the palm of their hand and have hundreds of them all be very interested in maths. And Steve is the master. And so we're extremely lucky to have him with us. That's all the nice things I'm going to say, but I am going to hand it over to Steve now. If everyone could give him a real or a virtual round of applause.
Wow, Joe, thank you so much for that introduction. The first thing I'd like to mention is that you might notice I sound a little different to Joe in that my accent is a little different. If you are okay and you understand everything that I'm saying, then just give me a thumbs up so I know that at least you are hearing me clearly and that I'm not going to be speaking too quickly. Let's just say I've got a 6-hour presentation that I'd like to put into 2 hours. And what I normally do is I find out more about you, which grades you're working with, and then I pull things out and I stick them into the presentation that would apply to you. So I would love to know where you are all from. I see some of you have kindly shared that information. Beulah, I see you are out in Fiji, and you are also a science communicator like Jade. I see we've got a couple of maths people. We've got a couple of sciencey people. We've got some STEAM people. So just to give me an indication of which grades you're working with and where you are from, please type it in the chat. I promise I don't bite. And I know that this is also home time for a few of you. So if you've got some of the kids around the house, you don't have to go, shh, 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 I'm on a conference. You can actually bring them in, because some of the activities that we're going to be doing, I want you to experience it like a student. And that's the best way for me to teach you, for you to actually say, you know what? I know what I was feeling at the moment we played it. My kids are going to love this game. And that is what it's all about. It's not here for me to assert or insist on any method of teaching. I'm going to be showing you a bunch of tools and tricks, and you can decide how you would like to do them. By way of introduction, I'm just going to share my screen so that you know a little bit about where I come from. This is my city, the city of Cape Town. You will notice that it is surrounded by ocean because it is the southernmost tip of Africa. You will also notice a very unusual looking mountain in the background, and that is Table Mountain. They call it Table Mountain because it is flat like a table. We also have this beautiful round object over here. Some people call it a paperweight, other people call it a football stadium. And during 2010, which I'm pleased to say some of you will probably remember that year because you were old enough to know that. When I teach some of my students, they don't know 2010 because they weren't born at that time. But for those of you who knew that they did the World Cup in South Africa, this was one of the venues where we were privileged enough to watch some of the top countries play against each other in a football match, which was really entertaining. But a little bit more about me. I normally, before COVID, I normally teach from pre-grade R, which is our pre-K, which might be a different year for you, depending on which country you're in. I teach from pre-K up to 12. So basically, I teach the full school system and before they even start school, because a lot of teachers and parents are trying to encourage mathematical thinking, and they want to get kids excited about it at a young age so that when they get to school, they are already excited and passionate and enthusiastic about mathematics. And I can't think of a better gift to give a student, the passion for mathematics at a young age, because then they don't understand what the fuss is about. They just can't wait to do it, as opposed to everyone saying, ooh, mathematics is difficult. So I get to go into schools. And at one point, I was teaching several thousand students a week all around Cape Town. And then this nasty thing called the pandemic came along and rendered me unemployed. Literally, we were locked down. I could not go into schools. I could not go and run workshops. I could do nothing. And that meant that because I was earning money for every presentation and class I was teaching, I became unemployed. Now, unemployment is what we call a mental incarceration in some ways, because you think that now that I'm unemployed and I'm earning no income, I'm of no value. That's when you need to turn your thinking around and say, wait a second, I've been teaching for long enough. I've been working with technology long enough. Maybe this is not about incarceration. This is about liberation. I am going to use the skills that I have, and I'm going to change the model that I was used to. I'm going to climb out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to apply the skills that I have, and I'm going to switch everything online. Will everyone buy into it? Maybe, maybe not. But I can teach online. I'm still passionate about what I do. And I started launching free classes online, which, by the way, is a great way to get people's attention. Free classes online. And I not only offered it in South Africa, I offered it in 3 different time zones. And that meant kids in America, kids in Australia, the Philippines, and I think we even had some in Fiji and New Zealand. They joined in one of the time zones. And for 6 to 8 weeks, I ran free online classes. And what I was doing was testing the water, to see if the content that I was doing would translate nicely to different countries around the world. B, which is the most optimal software to use so that if I'm trying to control a class, what program would I recommend? And I first started off with a lovely free program called Jitsi Meet. I'll type it in the chat if I don't know, you might want to experiment with it. So Jitsi Meet, great program, very powerful. It's open source, it's free. You could have up to 200 people joining a meet. The only problem is that I could have someone coming into the meeting and then sharing screen and doing all these nasty little things that you don't want to do. And I felt that I needed a bit more power over them. And that's when I went to Zoom, and Zoom had all the kinds of controls. As a host, I can mute you all. I can also mute you all and then switch off the unmuting part, which means that you can't unmute yourself. And that is a very powerful tool when you're trying to present and you don't want kids interrupting you, and you've got a flow of thought and you need to continue with that flow of thought. So here I am a year later, after being unemployed. Within 3 weeks, I was already employing myself again. And not only am I teaching in schools in Cape Town, I'm now teaching in schools around the world. I then also discovered, why only look at a South African market? Because if we are now teaching online, the world is my oyster. And I found that I was able to start approaching different countries and saying, listen, I have a set of skills. Almost sounds like a Liam Neeson movie. I have a set of skills and I am available for hire. And people said, well, show us what you can do. And I did it. And now I teach every week at the Museum of Mathematics in New York. I also run many of the activities for National Maths Week and Science Week in Ireland. I also run activities in the UK for National Maths Week and Berlin Science Week and a whole bunch of other international events. And that makes me excited because I get to share my passion for STEM to a much larger audience. So that's enough about me. I want to get to the juice of the topic. And I want to just tell you, I know that a lot of you feel comfortable switching your cameras off and you're muting your mics and you're thinking, I hope he doesn't pick on me. You must hope that I do, because this is going to be a great learning opportunity. I promise I don't make any judgments. This is not about point scoring. This is about you walking out going, I learned something new and I can't wait to try this on my students. I know that you also love taking notes, so I decided to remove that privilege from you, and I've created all the notes for you. I've put them in a Google Doc, and I will share that in the link. I see Tia is also very excited about the Google Doc as well. I'll just mute it just in case it was an accidental unmuting. And for those of you who have never used a Google Doc before, you will find that when you click on it, it is an open doc, so you are able to access the stuff. You won't be able to edit the document because I haven't given it public editing rights. And I have made that mistake before where I've shared a lovely Google Doc and I had people unfortunately deleting sections of it. And then everyone else who was using that document couldn't find the parts that I had shared. Fortunately, Google does save 30 days of history, and I was able to restore it back to its original state and then change the status to only viewing and not, of course, you can make a copy of the document or you can download it and you've got all that stuff to do on your own as well. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about mathematics. One of the biggest issues I have is that I go to a school and I'll ask them, raise your hand if you do not like mathematics. And surprise, surprise, I get a lot of hands going up going, me, don't like mathematics. And those are my people. I love people who say that they don't like mathematics. And that's not because they don't like mathematics. They do love it. They just don't know it yet. And it's my opportunity to reveal it to them. So I follow up that question by saying, how many of you that don't like mathematics do not like music? And no hands go up. I ask again, how many of you do like music? all the hands go up. And then I explain to them that I'm incredibly confused. How can you like music, but not like mathematics? And the students are going, we don't understand. What's the connection? Well, if you listen to music, you will notice that there are many genres of music. There is opera, there is classical, there might be traditional and cultural, there might be rap, there might be pop, there might be rock. But does that mean you like every genre of music? Probably not. But yet you still like music. So just because you don't like every part of mathematics doesn't mean you don't like mathematics. It just means you don't like that section. But there are many other parts of mathematics that you could be exposed to and go, now that part I really do like. So I always ask students, please do me a favor, but do yourself a favor. Don't hold any judgments against mathematics. Be open-minded, because when you are exposed to new types of learning and new areas of mathematics, you're going to go, I actually think this really is a cool subject. Now, today I'm expecting participation. That doesn't mean you have to speak. It doesn't mean that you're going to have to show your face, but I've got cool tools and tricks to introduce you to encourage participation. And we are going to play some games, and I am planning to win. So if you need some cloth to wipe your tears when you do lose, I'm okay with that. And remember, I'm going to be speaking to you like I'm speaking to my students. One thing I have found is between the ages of 7 and 14, very, very competitive, to the point where if I claim I'm going to beat them, I now open the box and release the beast, because now they're like, oh no, you are not going to beat us. And then I do kind of do a little bit of trash talk and say, well, you know what? You're probably going to be crying so much that your tears are going to raise the level to about above your head, and you're going to have to swim out of your room. And then I just see those heads shaking going, and then I go and play the game, and I win every single time to prove my point. But then there will be one time where I lose on purpose. And I want to see if any of those kids have picked up where the weakness was in the game, what strategy they could have used to actually beat me. And then we actually go and talk about the mathematics. So let's get on to the good stuff. Let me show you some of these cool tools. And I know 2 hours is never going to be enough. I would love another 6, but we're all going to work with what we've got. So let's go ahead and do that. So mathematics generally is introduced as a very fancy schmancy elitist subject. It is a subject that only the brightest can participate. Absolute nonsense. It is open to all. The only issue is that when it comes to joining in on mathematics, students need to feel that they are a worthy invitee. So it is our job as teachers to make sure that every student feels comfortable to participate. Not everyone's going to get everything right. That's not what I'm after. I'm after having my students make an effort and try. The minute they say, I can't do this, and they switch off, they are the hardest person to switch back on. So we need an attitude where they are willing to try. That's very, very important. And then, of course, I want them to play. I want them to ask questions. I want them to understand that mathematics has a context. It's not just a subject that you give them at school. It is something that actually lives and exists in the world around us, not because we are forcing it to be there, but because it already is there. And whenever I ask students and teachers, can you give me examples of maths in the world? Oh, yawn, yawn, yawn. They go, there are numbers on a clock. There are numbers on your watch. There are numbers on a calculator. That's not mathematics. That is just a bunch of numbers. I'll give you an example of mathematics. This is a great way to introduce a certain section of graph theory to your students. And remember, one of my techniques of doing maths in the class is I always begin with a question. I never start off and introduce fancy terminology and give them all the wording to write down in their books, or give them notes and say, this is the definition. This is an example of how you do it. Now go and do 50 examples. Because you know what they say? Practice makes, and I want you to type in the chat, what should come after that? What comes after practice makes? And you guys type in the chat what you think the next word should be. Joe was there, Jade was there. You are doing very well. Keep going. Practice makes. You are doing very well. I'm not surprised, but all of you have come up with the same answer. You've all come up with perfect. But no, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. And the problem with permanent is that if you are teaching students a method, then they think that is the only method to do it. And that's all they want to do permanently. And you want to encourage your students to think differently, to ask questions. I am not upset when my students ask me questions. I'm actually excited. And if I don't know the answer, and there are many times I don't know the answer, I tell them, listen, I don't know that answer. You have caught me out. But here's my challenge. I'm coming back tomorrow with the answer. I want you to come back with the answer, and we're going to compare answers tomorrow, because that is a learning opportunity for you and for me. And the more we are learning, the more we grow. No one ever grows within their comfort zone. You have to be willing to climb out of your comfort zone to learn new things. And hopefully today, I'm going to be ripping you out of your comfort zones, showing you technologies and tools that you probably haven't seen, you might have seen, but be warned, once you learn, it becomes very addictive. So I would like to start off with a very simple magic trick. I'm going to need a volunteer, someone who's brave. You won't have to do much at all. So if you would like to volunteer, just wiggle your hand in the air. You don't have to show your camera. We just need to hear your voice if you are willing to participate. And of course, sometimes I like to pick my volunteers if they are not forthcoming. So if you'd like to volunteer, please do so. And then that way, at least I know you are choosing to do that. No, don't all rush, one at a time. Seriously. All right, Joe, you're in charge of crowd control. They're just lining up to volunteer. So I'm so pleased that Dila has kindly volunteered to be our volunteer. Dila, thank you so much. And Dila, if you could unmute yourself, just so we can hear your voice. You won't have to do a lot. I promise you it's not going to be challenging. I'm going to there put in a request for you to unmute. Let's see if you can. You just have to click. Oh, and by the way, a little trick for those of you who have not done this before. If you're trying to unmute and you've got a computer, you can hold the space bar on your keyboard down, and that will unmute you temporarily. And when you let go the space bar, it puts you back into mute again. So sometimes you don't want to unmute for the whole session. You just want to speak. So it's kind of like a walkie-talkie. You know, those little things you walk around with. You just push the space bar down. You can speak. And then when you let go, it goes back into mute again. All right. So Dila, whereabouts are you from? Oh, don't tell me. You are from Indonesia.
Yes, sir.
Salam. So nice to meet you. So now what I'd like to know is, Dila, I need you to pick a number from 1 to 63, but I don't want you to tell me what that number is. Do you have a number in mind?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, she's got a number from 1 to 63, but you're not going to tell me what it is.
Okay. Already.
All right. Now, I need to read Dila's mind, because you see, she's holding on to this number. She's not telling me what it is. So Dila, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a few pages. And if you see your number there, you just say yes. And then I will work out what your number is. So let me go to my presentation. I see it over here. And I'm going to go to share screen. And this is my magic mind reader. And of course, you can always play some special music to go with it. Dun, dun, dun. And I'm going to click on play. So Dila, can you see the magic mind reader?
Yes, I can see your
Wonderful, wonderful. So Dila, can you see your number on slide A? Yes or no?
Yes.
You can. Wonderful. Can you see it on slide B?
No.
No. What about C?
Yes.
You can. What about D?
No.
What about E?
No.
What about F?
No.
Okay. If you did this correctly, Dila, you were thinking of a single digit. It happened to be the number 5. Is that correct?
Wow.
Now, hold on. How is it possible?
The single digit and the 5.
But now that's a bit crazy. I mean, there you've got, and I'm going to mute you there, Dila. That is crazy. Dila chose a number from 1 to 63, and I read her mind and I guessed it. Of course, let's look at the mathematics of it. There's 63 numbers. I could have picked one, and I had a 1 in 63 chance of getting it correct. But if I get it correct a second time in a row, then maybe there's more than this than meets the eye. So I'm looking for another volunteer, and you can see Dila was not bitten or eaten or hurt in any way. She just had to pick a number. So if any of you would like to try, I see Rajesh is smiling. He can't wait to try it. So Rajesh Krishna, why don't you pick a number from 1 to 63? And we're going to try an experiment, Rajesh. You're not going to speak. You're going to use your thumb and put it up in the air if it's a yes, and your thumb down if it's a no. So this is another technique when I have students that are a little bit shy and I need a yes or a no. I don't have to get them to use their voice. Their voice is in their hands and they can put their thumb up and down. Sometimes they want to use the symbols on the computer. I find it much easier with a visual of a thumb up and down. So Rajesh, please choose a number from 1 to 63. Do not tell me what the number is. And now it's going to be even more challenging. I can't read his body language because he's only showing me his head. I can't hear what he's thinking because he's muted himself. I have to try and work it out from a thumb movement up and down. So Rajesh, do you feel comfortable? Do you have a number from 1 to 63? Oh, I saw a thumbs up. Well, Rajesh, I would like to know, can you see your number over here on slide A? I've got to see if I can find Rajesh quickly on the screen. Where's your video so I can actually see? Oh, there you are. Okay, Rajesh, is your number on slide A? It is. Is it on slide B? No. Is it on slide C? No. What about slide D? It is. What about E? No. Whew. What about F? Okay. So Rajesh, I'm getting a vibe of an even number, an even digit and an odd digit. I'm thinking you chose, and of course, if I get this right, I get 2 thumbs up. I'm going with 41. Is that correct? Oh, I got 1, 2. There we go. 2 thumbs up. And that was what we call silent magic. How is it possible that I could get that right twice in a row? And of course, Dila has already asked, can you please share how you did it? And now you've just proven my first point. I haven't taught you any mathematics yet, but I've got you curious. You're wondering, how did he do it? So mathematics is not about showing definitions and giving explanations and giving examples. It's about sparking curiosity. I've got you thinking, is he really reading minds? Is he doing magic? So the way I'm going to explain this trick is I'm not going to tell you how I did it. I'm going to do a brain teaser with you. And then when we've done the brain teaser, I'm going to show you how the two connect. And then the light bulbs are going to switch on. And then I'm going to show you something even more exciting to go with those two things. And don't worry, Dila, in my document that I'm sharing with you, I'm putting a link to all of these things in so you can go and drive your students absolutely crazy, reading their minds, and they are going to think that you have these powers of amazing mind reading skills. All right, so let's see what I'm going to shoot. So, I'm going to teach you a new tool. For those of you that have not seen this tool, if you are teaching in a hybrid situation where some of your students are at home and some of your students are at school, if you are teaching in an online situation where all of your students are virtual, if you are teaching in an environment where all your students have a device and you want them to participate in an activity, but you want to be able to see their work, what could we possibly need? And there comes our first amazing tool. It is called Whiteboard.chat. Do not worry, it is in the document, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to go to share screen. Let me first open up Whiteboard.chat. Here we go. In fact, I'm going to open it up from scratch because I want you to see how it actually opens up. So let's go like this. It is a free app. Did you hear the keywords there? Free app. Okay. We all like free apps. So here we go. I'm going to go to a browser. I'm going to type in whiteboard.chat, and whiteboard.chat opens up. And I click on start drawing. I'm going to go to start teaching. And now we've got a beautiful whiteboard. I happen to have a stylus, which I use on a little board. But if you don't have a stylus, you can use a mouse. It's a little bit harder to draw with a mouse. Some of you might not realize this, but you could join the Zoom call with your iPad, and you could actually draw on the iPad with your finger, if that's what you needed. And if you've got a cell phone, you could join the Zoom call with your cell phone and then just share your cell phone screen. So there are many ways of doing it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you on this particular thing. There's a little drawing thing over here. If I click on that, I am going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to label them A, B, C, D, E, and F. And here's my story. I have got 6 material bags. Now, made out of cloth. So you can't see into the bags. They're not like these clear plastic bags. They are material cloth bags. And I have got 63 marbles. I would like to put those 63 marbles into those 6 bags in such a way that if I seal all the bags, I sew them shut, I can't put any marbles in and I can't take any marbles out. If you ask me for a number from 1 to 63, I will be able to give you the exact number of marbles by handing you the relevant bags. So let me give you an example. Let's pretend I put 10 marbles, 10 marbles, 10 marbles, 10 marbles, 10 marbles, and 13. Do you all agree that that is going to work out to 63? Are you all happy with that? Okay, that is an accepted thing. Wonderful. So Joe, if you were to ask me, could you please give me 20 marbles? I laugh and go, ha, 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 ha. That's not a challenge. I'm going to give you bag C and bag D. And now when you open them up and you pull the marbles out and you count them, it's 20 marbles. And I look very impressive and everyone goes, he is a mathematician. I cannot believe he got that right. But then, of course, Joe says, let's do it again. So I put the marbles back as they are. And Joe says, could I please have 5 marbles? And now I'm stuck. I can't give him 5 marbles because what you'll notice is that we've got a situation. They're all above 5. And I can't take marbles out of the bag. And I can't say, well, let me split this bag in half because I don't know how many marbles are in it. Oh, no. What am I going to do? So then Oh, I hear someone speaking. Oh, maybe they want to suggest something. Does anyone have a suggestion? How could we, maybe, and I'm going to undo what I just did here. Does anyone know how we could put the marbles into those bags so that we use up all 63 marbles, but that if I ask for any number from 1 to 63, you'll be able to give me the answer. So here is how I am going to get you to work with me on this one. On the top right-hand corner, you will see it says invite. I'm going to click on this invite button, and then it kindly gives me either a QR code or a little link. I'm going to copy this link. It does work in classrooms and Teams as well. And I'm going to share that in the chat with all of you. And as soon as you click on that link, you will join in on your very own whiteboard. So let's see how many of you are going to be able to join us. This is always the fun part. You guys get to join us. I'm quite excited to see if anyone is able to click on the link. It works on all devices, on Mac, on Windows, and on Android. So you can decide what you want to use. You can open up another. Oh, I see Joe must have joined because I see a J. If there's anyone else that would like to join, please feel free. Just click on the link in the chat and it will open up a whiteboard. You can put your name there so we know who you are. And don't be shy, because the best way to learn how to use this tool is to actually use it. And that way you're going to go, oh, I see. I could do this with my students. This is very exciting. So I could see a whole bunch of people are joining. And what I'd like to say is that whatever I do on my board will automatically be on your board. You can't rub that out. So just a little hint for teachers. If you put a PDF onto that board like a worksheet, then all of them will have that worksheet on their board and will have to work through that worksheet, whether they like it or not. So that's just a little hint, and I will show you how to do that after we've done this particular exercise. So what you can do, and I'm going to go to the bottom left-hand corner, it's got grid view, and grid view allows me to see all the boards simultaneously. So if you want to, you could start writing on your board, fill in a number in A, in B, in C. Remember, it's all going to add up to 63. And this is not about who gets it right or who gets it wrong. I'm just curious to see if any of you can try some numbers and see what happens. How do you write with a mouse? You just click on the left mouse button and then you are able to draw. I see Joe has worked it out and he is busy writing over there. I see more people are joining. That's wonderful. Keep joining. You could join at any point. And if you don't have the picture on your screen, just kind of draw it again. I see Herms, your screen seems to be blank. It might be that it is blank, or maybe I'm just not seeing it on my side. But Joe, you put 63 in bag F. Let's just have a look at Joe's particular answer. And now when I go to Joe's board, I click on it, I can actually join Joe's board. So now the two of us are editing the same board. Can you imagine if you are a teacher and you want to have a look at the work that your students are doing, you are able to then interact with them. And I'd say, Joe, I like what you're doing, but just notice you've got 63 over there and you've got 1 over there. The problem is you've already got 64 marbles. You are only allowed 63. So nice try. Go for it again. You can always click on the little eraser on the left-hand side. And if you click on the eraser, you can erase things very easily and give it a go. So I'm going to go back to instructor view. And some people are thinking maybe there's a strategy. Let's put small numbers and big numbers, because that way, if he asks us for a small number, we've got something. And he asks us for a big number, we've got something. So let's have a look to see what you guys are coming up with. Has anyone got a strategy? Oh, Joe's got big numbers at the end. And I see that you might be a little bit shy about participating. Don't worry. It's not for marks. It really is like an experiment to see if you guys are able to use this device. Maybe you can use this in your classroom. It really is a wonderful tool to actually use with your students. And it doesn't use a lot of bandwidth. So Joe, I see what you're doing. You've got 3 and 7, which is 10. And then you've got another 20, which makes 30. And then you've got another 30, which makes 60 and 1. So then the last one would be 2. Is that correct? Okay. So Joe, I'm curious. Let's have a look at Joe's one, because I'd like to know, Joe, if you were going to make 11, which bags would you give me to make 11? So you can either just put an arrow to those 3 bags or 4 bags or 2 bags, whatever it is, or you could circle them. So I know that you are able to make 11. Outstanding. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 7 is 11. So far, so good. If I said to you, could you give me 44? Are you able to give me 44? Now he's racking his brains. How do we make 44? 20. And you know what you can do, Joe? You can also underline. So then that way I know which one you're talking about. So if you're going to go like this, let's go into Joe's board. He's putting an arrow under there. So he says 20. And 7 makes 27. Okay, so you've got 30. 31. 33. Oh boy. We can't make that number. So then obviously, if you can't make that number, then maybe there's a different way to arrange all of those things. So here's what I would like to show all of you. I'm going to go back to the instructor board. And what I like is I want students to struggle. I don't want them to get the answer straight away. And it's not a bad thing when students have to struggle a little bit. You know why? Because when they get the answer, woo, the jubilation is palpable. You can feel it in the air, and that's what you really want. You want them to know that they discovered it. Yes, you can coach them along the way and push them in the right direction, but at the end of the day, you want them to feel the sense of accomplishment. So here's what I noticed. If I put 1 marble in that bag, then I can give you 1 marble. So far, so good. What can I not give you? I can't give you 2. So I'm going to put 2 marbles over here. Now I can give you 1 marble. I can give you 2 marbles, and I can give you 3 marbles, but I can't give you 4. So I'm going to put 4 over here. Now I can give you 1. I could give you 2. I could give you 3. I could give you 4. I can give you 5. I can give you 6. I can give you 7. But what can I not give you? 8. I'm curious. Do any of you see a pattern? If you see a pattern, type it in the chat. Maybe, oh, and Ima, if you want to write the numbers, you take your mouse button, the left mouse button, and you hold it down while you are moving the mouse on the screen if you are using a mouse to draw. So let's have a look. Do any of you see a pattern? I see a 1, a 2, a 4, an 8. What could possibly come next in that pattern? And I'm wondering why. Why would that number come next? Any takers? Don't be shy. You're welcome to try and guess. I'm not judging. Does no one see a pattern? Oh, I see. Ah, Emma says that it's going to be 16. Emma, do you know why it's going to be 16? And Sophia, you said it's because you are timesing it by 2. That is absolutely correct. We are doubling each time. Now, what does this have to do with the magic mind reader trick that I just did? Haha. Well, here's what I want to show you. Let's see. I see, Deddy, you've just arrived. Pick a number from 1 to 63. Shout it out. Any number.
63. Oh, sorry.
Any number that is smaller than from 1 to 63. You could pick any number.
8.
8. Oh, come on. That wasn't even challenging. I'd give you bag D and you've got 8 marbles. That's me. 1 point to me. Pick another number from 1 to 63. Don't be shy. You can't scare me.
I'm sorry.
No, don't worry. You just choose any random number from 1 to 63.
Okay.
And not one that you see. Don't choose one of these because these are going to be too easy.
Okay. 17.
17. It is bag E and bag A because 16 and 1 makes 17. You're not scaring me. Come on. Pick a number that you think I can't make.
Okay. Okay. 25.
Ooh, 25. I knew he would bring out the old 25. Well, how about 16 and 8 makes 24 and 1 makes 25? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So what you'll notice is that it's very easy to make all the numbers from 1 to 63. And if you actually add up all these numbers, you will get 63. So what does this have to do with the magic trick that I did for you? Well, I don't know if you noticed this, but we were using those very numbers in that PowerPoint presentation. What, you say? No. Yes, we were. Let's have a look again. I want you to take a look at the top left-hand corner number. 1, 2, 3. No, that wasn't the pattern. It was 1, 2, 4. What's going to come next? 8, 16, and of course, 32. So why are those numbers there? Well, imagine these corner numbers like this. These are the bank bags with the marbles. Now, if I was going to make the number 33, which 2 bank bags would they be in? They would be in bank bag with 32, because here's 33. And of course, they would be in bank bag number 1. And that is why, if you look carefully, 33 will only be on those 2 pages, because to make 33, you need 1 and 32. Now, that doesn't always make sense when I explain that. Not everyone gets it. And one thing I've learned as a teacher, when you've got 25 students in a class and you explain something that you understand, not everyone understands it the same way you do. And especially when you've got kids, they all understand things differently. So I think it's important to explain things in alternative ways. So here's another way to understand it. Imagine I've got an empty jar on my head. I ask you to pick a number from 1 to 63. Let's pretend you choose the number 23. I go to slide A and I say, is 23, oh, sorry, I'm not going to say is 23 because I don't know what your number is. I'm going to say, is your number on slide A? And you say yes, because there it is. Then I take 1 sweet and I pop it into my jar. I then go on to the next slide. And I ask you, is your number over here? You say yes. I take 2 more sweets and I add them to my jar. So right now I'm sitting with a total of 3. Can you see that? I then ask, is your number on C? You say, yes, it is. Oh, well, now I've got 1 sweet, I've got 2 sweets, and I've got 4 sweets in my jar. I then ask you, is your number over here? You say no. So I don't have to do anything with that 8. I ignore it. So right now I still only have 1. I have 2 and I have 4. Correct? And then I ask you, is your number over here? And you say, yes, it is. I can see 23 over there. So then I've got 1, I've got 2, I've got 4, and I've got 16 sweets in my jar. And then I go to the last slide. Is my number over here? And no, 23 is not here. So then all I have to do is add up the sweets that I have in my jar. I've got 1, 2, 4, and 16. And let's do that. 1 and 2 makes 3, and 4 makes 7, and 16 makes 23. So the number that the person chose was 23. Now, Dila, I saw you nodding a little bit. Do you think you understood that? Are you feeling a little bit more confident? Should we do another one, a practice one? Let's do one more practice one. So I'm going to pick a number, and I want to see if you can tell me what my number is. All right, I've got a number. Is my number on slide A? The answer is no. So then you can ignore that. You don't need that number. Is my answer on B? Yes, it is. So think about how many sweets you're going to put into your jar. Is my number over here? The answer is no. So you ignore the number 4. Is my number over here? Yes, I do see it. So you're going to add 8 sweets to your jar. Is my number over here? No, it is not. So you ignore the number 16. And is my number over here? No, it is not. You can ignore the number 32. And what I would like you to do is type in the chat if you know what my number was. Let's find out if anyone has worked out what my number was. Oh boy. Emma and Johnny, Jade, I can't fool you. Joe, you guys are fast learners. This will drive your students crazy. They're going to want to know. Now, Dina, you weren't sure. So for those of you who did get it, and Dina, you know what I always tell my students? It's okay not to know. What is not okay is keeping that to yourself. And I'll tell you why. Because if you ask me to explain it again, I'm happy to do so. But if you don't ask me to explain, you're going to continue not knowing. And that's not a good thing. I want you to feel comfortable and say, you know what, Steve, I really did not get it and I feel bad. You don't have to feel bad because like I said, everyone has different learning styles and everyone learns in different ways. So Dila, I'll share it with you again. And I want you to have a look at the PowerPoint. The question was, is my number over here? And my number 10, because that was the answer, is not here. So I don't need to do anything with that number 1. I just ignore it. I go over here, is my number here? And I saw my number here. I say yes. So then you take 2 and you put that in your jar. So keep that written down. You've got 2 in your jar. Is my number here? No, it is not. I ignore the number 4. I don't need it. Is my number over here? Yes, I can see it. It's right here. So then you're going to add 8 to your jar. So right now you've got 2 and you've got 8 sweets in your jar. Is my number here? No, it is not. So you ignore that number. And is my number here? No, it is not. So you ignore that number. How many sweets do I have in my jar, dealer? And as you know, the correct answer will be 2 plus 8, which is 10. So I'm just curious, out of interest, how many of you felt comfortable and actually feel that they could do this trick on their students and their family members? You can just raise your hand if you think you feel comfortable. There we go. We've got a couple of hands. If you want to type in yes in the chat, that's also okay. I see some of you are using the raise hand feature. That's brilliant. Because now you could say to your son or your daughter, so how did you do in that English test you did today? And they go, I'm not telling you my score. Why not? It's so bad. Well, here we go. Have a look at these slides. Can you see your score on slide A? Can you see your score on slide B? And by the time you get to slide F, you're going to go, oh, someone got 31%. And they'll be like, what? How did you know? It's because I read minds. And I'm reading your mind right now. You did not do your homework, did you? Oh, my word. She really can read my mind. And you could use that to your advantage. I give that to you free of charge. I'm not going to charge you for it at all. That is my gift to you to control your children. I'm joking. You don't really want to do that, but it does work. I'm just saying you can use it if you choose to. Now, I did say that I was going to show you a brain teaser that connected to the mind reading trick, but now we've got some high school teachers. I want to take it one step further. And what I found is that I was able to teach my students this trick, and I'm talking first grade students. They understood this. So let me show you what I want to show you. I'm going to go back to the whiteboard. I'm going to clear with the X over here. I'm going to clear that board, and I'm going to write those bags down again, but in a different order. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, and 32. Nothing fancy there. All I've done is I've written those bags down. I'm even going to draw lines down. There we go. Now, for the high school teachers, you will know 2 to the 0 is 1. 2 to the 1 is 2. 2 to the 2, and maybe I should just put a circle around it so you don't get confused. 2 to the 2 is 2 times 2, which is 4. 2 to the 3 is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. 2 to the 4 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 16. And 2 to the power of 5 is 32. Those are what we call binary numbers. So when I ask you, which bag will you give me to make the number 10? You're going to give me bag 8 and bag 2, correct? What about the rest of the bags? Well, we don't need them. So I'm just going to put a 0 in the other columns, because those are the ones we're not using. And guess what? In binary code, when you're working on a computer, 1010 is the number 10 in binary. If I said to you, it's in bag 8, bag 4, bag 2, and not in bag 1, you would simply say that in binary code, 1110 is actually 8 plus 4, which is 12, plus 2, which is equal to 14. I know that when you are teaching computer science and you are teaching them binary codes, that a simple brain teaser about mind reading becomes a very cool way to introduce binary numbers. And of course, if I said to you, maybe you could try and work this one out, what number would this be? 1, 0, 1, 1. Can you tell me what will 1011 be in binary code? You can just type it in the chat. Let's see if you can work out what 1011 will be. I'll look in the chat to see if any of you are able to get it. Oh, not Pascal's triangle, but in fact, no, there is a bit of Pascal's triangle in it, but that's a little bit more advanced to show you the connection. And I can already see that you people are unbelievably fast learners. You've already noticed that if it's in the 8 column, it's 8. It's not in the 4. It is in the 2. So 8 and 2 makes 10. It is in the 1. So of course, in binary code, it is the number 11. And what is amazing is that you could start to teach them different types like hex and dec and all those things. And they will be amazed that it's actually quite easy to understand. But remember, I didn't just start off with definitions. I started off with a magic trick, and I ended teaching you binary code and reading people's minds. Not for 1 second did you stop to go, what was the math lesson about today? Was the math lesson binary code? You learned a couple of tricks and you were like, whoa. Some of you are going, he taught us how to use Whiteboard Chat. That's amazing. But how else can we use this in our classroom? And I'm glad you asked. I do want to show you a couple of tricks because I find it incredibly useful to use an app like this. So let me clear the board. We all know that using an app like this, you can obviously see all the boards of all your students simultaneously. So if you've got some students at school and some students at home, you can actually see what they're doing which is a very powerful tool. But now over here on the left-hand side, there are a whole bunch of tools. Let me show you a couple of them, and then you're going to go, what? Seriously? Where's this thing been all my life? This over here is grids. If I click on grids, I can choose, do I want a grid like this? If I'm doing coordinate geometry, or if I'm drawing straight line graphs and I want them to see what I'm doing. Maybe I don't want that. I want a handwriting grid. So for the younger grades, they're now practicing their handwriting. I could also go to a big grid. And maybe for the younger grades, if you are teaching them coordinates and you're putting dots in certain places, but you might say, well, you know, what I do need is maybe programming. Oh, look at that. So now I've got a completely different setup over there. So you can choose what background you want. I think that you always pick the background that works for you. Let me see. Right. The next trick I want to show you is on this little wrench. If you click on it, you've got a whole bunch of cool things. Number one, you can insert shapes. You can insert calculators. You can insert a writing software. So it actually, yeah, like for example, handwriting. I can click on handwriting and I'm going to choose a language. Well, I'll just choose English because that's pretty much the language that I know. I'm just trying to think there might be another language that you understand. And if I write, hello, Joe, and I ask it to recognize it. Oh, it missed it. Let's try that again. Hello. There's hello and Joe. It did recognize it. I'm going to click on that one. Hello, Joe. It types it in for me. So if you want to get it to recognize handwriting, that's pretty cool. Of course, what else do we have here? If I click on that, we could go to math. Oh, what other math tools do we have? So now hopefully it'll load up that math tool. Let me first clear this. And sometimes I can't always see what I've got here. And I'm going to move that out the way by clicking on this little button here, move and resize. I then should be able to move it and resize. Sometimes, depending on how many people are on the internet and my internet speed, it might misbehave. But there are so many other ones. There's obviously the handwriting one. There is the maths one, the calculator one. And of course, you can do show dice. What I do like, for example, is add YouTube. If I click on add YouTube, what it does is it actually runs a little screen. So I'm going to refresh this board. Maybe that will make it behave. I'm going to go to that toolbox again, go to show YouTube. And I'm not seeing it over there. It is misbehaving. So what normally happens is it allows me to type in the YouTube link. And if I type in the YouTube, oh, here it is. There we go. So if I type in a YouTube link, let's pick a YouTube video. YouTube, there's a video. I can now copy that URL. I'm going to go back to my whiteboard, put it in there. I want it to start at 5 seconds and I want it to end at 26 seconds. And now I'm going to push play. And what it does is it puts that on all of your whiteboards, no adverts around it, nothing. So I can plant a few of these on the whiteboard if I'm giving you an exercise and you can watch them at your own leisure. Very powerful tool. And of course, as I said, you're going to have to experiment because there are a whole bunch of other tools there. Then, not to be outdone, you go to this thing over here. And by the way, I was so impressed with this whiteboard, I contacted the CEO. His name is Pawan. And I said to him, Pawan, I love your product, but I've got a long list of things I want you to fix. So we had an hour Zoom call, and now 2.0 will be coming out very soon. You will see brand new features. I said to him, why have a wrench here with a whole bunch of tools and then have this little board over here where you've got all these manipulatives, Indian currency, Malaysian currency, 3D shapes, alphabet, letters, math objects, biology, widgets. I mean, there were just so many cool things there. I said to him, you can't just have a toolbox and then a paint palette. Paint doesn't mean anything about tools. That tells you about color. So he said, you know, I never thought about that. So now he is all of a sudden going to start changing some of these things so it makes a bit more sense. But if I go to the manipulatives over here and I click on it, I could choose, for example, a ruler. I could choose a 10 frame. There we go. There's my 10 frame. And I can get the students. I can say that if I have, for example, 2 sweets, how many more do I need to make 10? So when you're teaching partners of 10, you can already see the benefits, and you can go a little bit more advanced for the high school students as well, number lines and all those sorts of things. I thought you would appreciate that. So you're going to have to experiment. And of course, if you want to share the thing, just click on invite and click on the link and boom, share the link. You've got a whole bunch of participants working in your program. So those were a whole bunch of tools that I've shared with you. We still have another 6 hours to go. I'm very excited because now I was holding back the good stuff. I know that some of you really want to see the good stuff. So let's go on to the good stuff. The good stuff that I wanted to show you is that, of course, you can use, in fact, I'm curious to know how many of you use Kahoot. Raise your hand if you've ever used Kahoot in your classroom. Oh. You know that feeling when you go up to your friend and say, I have this thing called chocolate. Have you ever had chocolate? And they go, no, what's chocolate? And I go, what? You've never had chocolate before? You mean I'm going to get to introduce you to chocolate for the first time? Let me warn you. This comes a warning. You play this once with your students. Not only are you going to be a hero, but they are going to nag you every single day to play. Don't do it every day. Make learning a treat. Don't make it a chore. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to go to kahoot.com. I'll type it in the chat. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And I've created a very short quiz. We won't finish the whole thing, but we'll just show you. I want to give you a taste of it. What you're going to do is you're going to get out another device if you have one. It could be a cell phone or an iPad or whatever. Otherwise, if you don't, on your device, you can open up another tab and you're going to go to kahoot.it in a browser. Kahoot.it in a browser. And then I'm going to give you a PIN code. You'll type in your name and you'll see what's going to happen. So let me load up the screen. I'm going to quickly share my screen with you so you can see what I'm doing. Let's go like this. Where is my Kahoot? There it is. I've already signed in. And of course, it's free. No, you see, if your students have got one device, a brand new feature that they've just released on Kahoot is that the questions and the answers now appear on your device. So I'm going to quickly choose the UNESCO crazy maths competition. I'm going to go to play. I'm going to go to teach. Now there are 2 modes. Teach means we're going to play it live in the classroom like we're going to do now. Assign means I can send the link to this quiz for you to play at home. But here comes the catch. I can set it to expire at a certain time. So you are not going to do your homework at midnight tomorrow. You're going to finish it before 6 p.m. Otherwise, you don't get to put in a score at all. And once you're done with the Kahoot, you can download all the results. I'm going to show you how to make mathematics really fun by gamifying the content. So I click on teach. I'm now going to make sure that show questions and answers on the device. That is now on. And now I'm going to click on classic mode. And here comes the PIN code. We only need a couple of you to join so you can get a sense of how it works. It is 6661354. So you're going to go to kahoot.it on a browser, or you can download the Kahoot app if you want to from the App Store or from iTunes. Oh, Joe is in already. Let's see if anyone else is going to be joining. We'll just give it a minute or two. Oh, H is in, Jad is in. And if you spelled it wrong, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. We just want to know that we've got a couple of people in. I'll give you another 10 more seconds to see if you could sign in. Daddy is in, and they love seeing their name on the board. They get very excited that they are actually participating in this quiz. So what's going to happen is wherever you signed in, that is going to be the remote control. When I show you a question, when you input your answer, you do it on your remote control. You don't touch the screen that you're watching. You use the screen that you inputted your name and where you signed in. That is your remote control. All right, so let's get started. For those of you who are unable to join, the code will stay on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen in case you want to join later on during the game. I'm going to click on start. Oh, Ims is there. Or I will give you another minute just so that we can have more participants, because I want you to get a sense of the excitement of this game and why I believe it's such a cool tool. There are many others like this. I happen to be an ambassador for Kahoot, and that's why I know this product works, because I've done it in class and I've seen kids smile so hard that their lips actually were stretching behind their ears and touching on the other side. And that's the best way to get learning to happen. All right, let's go. We're going to start. And this is the UNESCO Maths Crazy Quiz. What I am going to do is, let me stop quickly. I want to share with sound, because when you do this with sound, this is what you'll hear in the classroom. All right, this is our warm-up. I'm going to just make sure that when we go into the first question, I turn the volume up here. What comes next in this pattern? Here we go. Oh, you've only got 15 seconds. You can guess if you don't know. Oh, the pressure's on. 10 seconds. Come on, you can do this. 5, 3, 2. Time is up. So if not everyone answered, it will run its course. If everyone answers before the time is up, the round will end. And this will tell me that out of the 6 people that answered, 3 of them got it correct. You are multiplying by -3 each time. Notice what I'm doing. I'm explaining the answer to you. You multiply by -3 each time. The kid's going, oh, I see. They don't realize I'm actually teaching. They think I'm just explaining how to get the answer. The beautiful, and I will tell you another little trick about Kahoot that will blow your mind as well. So now I'm going to go to next and watch what it does. Right now on the leaderboard, we have Denny leading with 905 points, H with 781, Joe coming in third, Jad and Dila, you are in the top 5. That is very impressive, but it's not over yet. Let's find out what the next question brings. It is a quiz question, which means multiple choice. How many triangles are in the picture below? I've given you a minute and a half for this one. You've got to count all of those triangles. Oh boy. Is it 9? Is it 13? Is it 10? You are allowed to bring people to help you. Don't worry. I don't mind. But Jess, if your daughter's still awake, bring her over. She can help you. We've got 4 answers in so far. And if you don't know, you can always guess. Do you feel like you're on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Can you hear that music in the background? It's getting them excited. 6 answers are in. I'll give you another 10 seconds. When it gets to 20, I'm going to end the round. So you've got 10 seconds just to take a guess. And 3 of you got it correct. There were indeed 13. What is, you might say, what? 13? How is that possible? So if I click on show media, I can see the picture now, and I can actually point out exactly where those triangles are if you were interested. Okay, let's go to the leaderboard. And right now, Denny is sitting on top. We've got H there and Joe with 737. I have noticed there's been some interesting things happening with the scores, which I need to check with Kahoot. I'm not sure why all of a sudden We're not seeing names moving around, but maybe the positions are not changing. Maybe they all knew the answer. We'll find out in the next one. So we'll do two more questions. What is the next letter in the following sequence? Oh. T, S, N, T, F. It's a tricky one. Woo! Oh boy, 2 of you got it correct. Some of you are going, no ways, I have no idea. What is interesting is that if I had to take the first letter of 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, the next one would be 18, it should be an E. And now you're going, oh man, I could have got that one. And let me tell you, I can see that disappointment on your face, because when we look at the leaderboard, oh, Joe has now moved to the top spot. We've got Denny coming in second, H in third, Dina in fourth, and Jad is still on the way to making a mark on the scoreboard, but it's not over yet. Anything can happen with this next question. Once again, it's a multi-select. There might be more than one answer to this one. You've got to pick the answers that you think are true. An odd number times an odd number is even. Is it true? I don't know. The units digit of 7 factorial, that means 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 is going to be 0. And if you put 2 over P is equal to 0, then P must be 0. True or false? And of course, the sum of the first 10 numbers is 55. Oh, we've got one answer in so far. Someone taking this very seriously. 17 seconds. Whew. I see Joe's got his hand on his head. Remember, you can pick a few answers. If you are wrong, then you get some marks for some of the right ones. Oh, we've got 2 answers in. 3 answers just in time. Of course, an odd number times an odd number. Let's take 3 times 3. Do I get an even number? No, 3 times 3 is 9. So that is definitely not true. I know that if I'm doing 7 factorial, 7 times 6 times 5 times 4, I could stop there. 5 times 4 is 20. So if I'm going to multiply that by anything else, I know my answer is going to end with a 0. So that was a very sneaky question. If 2 over P is equal to 0, then P is equal to 0. No, because if you put 2 over 0, your answer is not 0. It is undefined. What? You want to know why it's undefined? I'm so glad you asked, Eddie, because you used that expression on your face, which is common around the world. You went like this, huh? And that is important for me as a teacher to see those expressions. I can then voluntarily put my services out there and explain something to you. So imagine this. Let's try and see if it works. I have got, will it allow me to write? Oh, it's not allowing me to write on here. All right. I have got 2 pieces of cake and I share it between 2 people. The answer, 2 over 2, is going to be 1 because each person is going to get 1 piece. If I've got 0 cake, now I'm putting the 0 on top and I'm putting that over 2, I'm sharing 0 cake between 2 people. Daddy, you're going to get 0. I'm going to get 0. So when we put it together, it makes 0. So 0 over 2 will be 0. But if I'm going to put 2 over 0, it means I've got 2 pieces of cake and I've got to share them between 0 people. How much cake should each person get? Well, you can't say they get 1 piece each because there are 0 people. You can't say 0 because then there'll be no pieces of cake. So what can you, well, you can't say anything, and that is why the answer is undefined. And sometimes kids can relate to cake, and that's important. All right, look at the leaderboard. Joe has now moved back up to the top. And what you'll notice is that sometimes I will take questions and make them double pointers, because when it's a double pointer, all of a sudden you start to see people moving higher, dropping down. They love watching the names of the people changing positions during the session. Now, Denny, was that a question, or are you applauding? I saw you clicked on the icon there. Was that a question? Oh, no, you were just applauding Joe. You were commending him for his outstanding effort. Excellent. Now, when you play Kahoot, oh, there you go. You unmuted. Were you asking a question, Denny?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
What question were you asking?
Another question. I'm sorry, I can't say, because the Wi-Fi is not really good.
Ah, the Wi-Fi is not working. Okay. But are you able to follow what we are doing?
Yeah.
Okay, then that's the most important thing. Awesome. All right. So what I wanted to show you is that I'm hoping we've seen a multiple choice. You get true or false questions. You get multi-select, which means you could choose 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 options. There's also another type. I'm going to skip to this one over here, because I want to show you another type of question. These are all, oh, here's a double pointer, and I'm going to skip that one as well. I'm going to skip that. I want to see if we can show you a picture question. That's a multi-select. We don't want a multi-select. Oh, this one we do want. Notice you can type in maths equations, high school teachers. If you want to type in math, there is a maths editor that allows you to type in like equation editor, and you can get the students to answer the questions. But don't worry, we're going to skip that one. I just wanted to show you that you can do math type in the actual thing. Here's a good one. You've got to type in the answer over here. How many years are in a millennium? So now you're not giving me a multiple choice. You've got to type in the word or the number. How many years are in a millennium? Is it 5 years, 10 years? How many years in a millennium? I see some of you are using Google. In other words, you've got teenagers and you're asking them quickly, how many years in the millennium? I don't know. I know that a Millennium Falcon is a spaceship that they use in Star Wars, and yesterday was May the 4th be with you, which is Star Wars Day, but no, that's got nothing to do with it at all. 10 seconds. Oh, all the answers came in before the time was up. And notice I put in 1, 2, 3, 4 different variations of the answer, because I didn't want you all to type in 1,000 and put a space over there and say, but I got the answer right and I never got the points. So I actually put the variations over here, and 1,000 is correct. Let's see what that does to the leaderboard. I'm not seeing anything happening with the leaderboard. Either you all got it wrong, or there is something going on with the points, and I need to chat to the Kahoot people about that. Here's a true or false question. If you multiply an odd number by 2 and you add an even number, you will get an odd number. Is that true or false? I can also turn down the volume a little bit so it's not too distracting. And of course, if you take an odd number and you double it, you're going to get an even number. And if you add another even number to it, it's going to stay even. So of course, that would be false. And now we're going to go to next. Oh, look at that. H has now moved to the top. Very impressive. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fast forward to the end of the quiz to show you what actually happens. Okay, well, let's just do this last one. It's a rebus question. It's a visual one. What English expression is that trying to tell you, and you've got to type it in the chat, not in the chat, on the actual thing, what rebus question, what visual word puzzle, that's what a rebus question is. What is it trying to say? I see one person has worked it out. I'll give you another 10 seconds because I've still got a few more things I want to show you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And of course, if you did notice, the word eggs is written in a whole bunch of different ways. And that is because it's scrambled eggs. So some people might say scramble eggs. Some people might say scrambled eggs. So I just put the two variations to make sure we were covered. I'm not sure if anyone got that. So I'm going to skip all the way to the end of the quiz. And when you get to the end of the quiz, this is what happens. It shows you the podium. In third place, we have Dila. Woohoo! Dila, well done, Dila. In second place, we've got Joe. And who came in third place? It's going to be H. Well done, H. And in fourth and fifth, they sometimes pop up. Deddy and Jad, you came in fourth and fifth. Well done. That was outstanding. Now, here's what I want to show you. At the end of the quiz, you go to get feedback. Now have a look. It shows me which are the most difficult questions that everyone got wrong. It says, do you want to play again? Well, maybe I do. It says, view the full report. If I download the full report, I can either download it as an Excel spreadsheet, or I can download it as a Google Sheet. So let's go to report options. Let's download the report, download it over here. I'm going to open it up quickly so you can actually see what it is showing you. Here we go. I'm going to just stop share. And now I'm going to go back to share screen. So when I open it up, you will see exactly what it is. Let me share that now. This is mind-blowing. So teachers, I'm using a premium account because I am an ambassador, but the teacher's account, the free one, does all the things that I've just shown you today. So you could sign up, it's free. And where was my report? It is over here. So I'm going to quickly go back to share screen. There we go. And can you all see that? This is what it looks like. This is the overview. 20% got the answers correct. 80% got it wrong. 11 out of the 25 players. It's just kind of giving you like a bit of a summary. And then all of a sudden you go to final scores. It shows you the final scores. That just gives you an indication of how many people got it correct and how many got it incorrect, etc. Of course, if a person got 2 correct or 1 correct, then it should have values there, and it's not showing up. So I need to check with Kahoot why that didn't happen today. And if I go to the Kahoot summary, it shows me question by question how many people got it correct during the actual session. And I can just slide along and it'll tell me exactly what they did. I can then go to question number 2 and it'll show me how each person did in the class. So from an assessment point of view, you can actually use it as an assessment tool. Did I mention it's free? Wonderful. And then, of course, there was one extra thing that I said about this game, that you want to make sure that learning took place. Oh, here's what I want to show you. At the end of the game, you tell the students, right, we just played a practice round. Now we are playing for reals. And you click on play again. And now you don't have to sign in because all of you are already signed in. But notice your names have got a little ghost next to it. So this is not Joe. This is Joe from the first game we just played. This is Joe right now. So when we play this game, I want to make sure that you all play much better than the ghosts from the previous game. So if I go to question number 1, let's just see what happens. Here we go. Question number 1. And there we go. What comes next in this pattern? Let's see if any of you can remember. Oh, now I can hear the answers coming in very quickly. That's what we call the popcorn effect. So a term that I coined for Kahoot to show them that all of a sudden, you'll notice that the answers start coming in quickly. Now they're coming in slowly. The slow answers were the ghost versions of you. Let's have a look at the leaderboard. Not one ghost is on the screen. Not one. That means that dealer, you came 5th in the previous game. You are now on the leaderboard, and notice the point difference between everyone is much closer because we've just proven that learning took place. So if I do another question, let's see what happens. How many triangles are in the picture? I don't think many of you got that one right, but I see the answer coming in super fast. I'm going to end it in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And 8 of you got it correct. We did not have that many get it correct the last time. And if I now go look at that, you are all scoring points, but notice the points didn't change. There's definitely something happening on the Kahoot server today. I need to check with them to find out. But what you'll notice is once again, no ghost icons are there, which means that the worst player in the the best player in the first game is being beaten by the worst player of the game right now. So when you've got students in your class who always get the answer correct all the time, and all the kids are going to go, yeah, he's going to win that one because he always knows all the answers. When you play it in ghost mode, you level the playing fields. Now everyone knows the answers, and it's about how quickly they can get it in. And I find that the students who are normally at the bottom of the list start featuring in the top 5. And what you do to a person's self-esteem is you blow it right through the roof. And that's an important thing. All right, let's go to another thing that I want to show you, and that is Desmos. For the high school teachers, how many of you have ever used Desmos before? You haven't used Desmos? Another chocolate moment for me. So Desmos is what we call interactive mathematics. You can sign up for a free account and you can build your own online activities. I'm going to play one with you just so that you can see exactly how it works. So let me load it up quickly. I believe I had a lovely activity over here for you. Where is my, here we're going to go to this one here. This one was a balloon one that a teacher was doing with the students, and it, let me share my screen so you can all see. Right, this one was called the World Record Balloon Dog. And to start it, I'm going to click on Student Preview. But remember, when it's ready, if you sign in, you can then make a link to this and send it to all the children. And then when the children get it, they will get this screen over here. And what happens is it's going to say, watch this crazy dog named Twinkie try to set the world Guinness Book of World Records, whatever, for the fastest time, popping 100 balloons. How many seconds do you think it will take her? And this video is only going to give you a snippet. Oh boy, he popped 25 balloons in 5 seconds. Would you like to make a prediction on how many seconds you think he's going to take to do 100 balloons? So now the students are thinking, oh, how do we work that out? But can you see what's going on here? You're now giving them an opportunity to do some critical thinking and reasoning. Let's go to the next slide. Can you sketch on this set of axes what you think the relationship between the balloons popped and the seconds elapsed? So this is time over here. and this is the number of balloons. Clearly, as time goes on, he's popping more balloons. So at 0 seconds, he's probably sitting over here. At 20 seconds, I don't know, maybe he's popped 50 balloons. At 10 seconds, I think he probably popped about that many. At 40 seconds, maybe he's done 100. So maybe that's what my graph is going to look like. And once again, in Desmos, you can see all the students' screens. Okay, let's go to the next one. And this is the official amazing work record. And here's the graph showing you exactly what it looks like. And I'll just fast forward it. If I can fast forward it. Notice how the graph moves with the video. Oh, that's an interesting shape. I wonder what type of graph that would be. Can you now return to the first screen and submit your prediction, how long it will take? So what we've done here is I got you to take part in a fun activity. Did I mention maths in it? No, it was about a dog popping balloons. Now you're probably going to ask, oh, that is such a cool exercise. I would like to use that. What, Steve? You've got a Google spreadsheet with like 100 of those exercises? Thank you so much. I'm going to go and pick and choose the ones that I think are appropriate for me. I'm going to save them and I'm going to adjust them and make my own ones. That is very kind of you. Of course, that's not the only chocolate I would like to share with you, since I've got a whole slab of chocolate and all of you are sharing. What about Geogebra? Have any of you used Geogebra? No, it's not about a geographical zebra. Geogebra is a free app once again. It's got lots of functionality. Let me show you another little example of one. I believe I have it over here. Let's go to this one here. I have to make sure that we stick on time. That's the one I want to open. And let me share my screen with you. So Geogebra has many built-in examples, and you can just go into different topics and pick the ones you want. You can also go and make your own ones as well. Geogebra is a very powerful tool that you can edit, especially for the high school teachers. This is an absolute value graph. We have our coefficient is 1. We've got 1 over here and x. And I want to know what happens if this increases or decreases. So I am able to slide the slider, and this tells me what is going on in my equation. So when you are adding 2, your graph is going to move up 2 units. When you are taking away 2, it's going to move down 2 units. And of course, if you are taking x and adding 1 or taking away 1, it's going to move either left or right on the axis. So sometimes the question will be, where is the original one? There we go. What will the new graph look if x was adding 1 and the graph was shifted down 2 units? So x is going to add 1. There we go. It means my graph is going to move 2 units, 1 unit to the right or to the left. And then, of course, if I play with the k, our new graph is going to look like this. If I add 1 to the x over there and I subtract 2, my graph is going to move down. So kids can actually visually see what happens when you've got a parabola and you change the x and the y values. What will that parabola do? What happens if you've got a straight line and you increase the gradient, you decrease the gradient, you increase the y value, you increase or decrease the x value? What is my graph going to look like? All of a sudden, funny things start happening. And I think that that is so cool that a child can investigate. I'm not teaching you anything. I'm letting you play. And sometimes discovery is one of the greatest tools in mathematics when you have that aha moment and go, you know, I just realized something, that if you actually add an extra y, or you add a 1 onto the y, it's going to move the grass. Oh man, why did I not know that? And that starts to help people see things in a different light. All right, we've still got another 10 minutes. What can I squeeze in? For the science teachers, do you know about PHET? It is the maths physical, it's like maths and science simulations. Well, let's do one for you to show you what it looks like. And just in 2 minutes before the end, Dina, you've used Desmos in your classroom. You haven't used Geogebra, but you are going to have to look at Geogebra. All you do is you go onto a thing called Google. You go, okay, Google, can I please have demonstrations of Geogebra? And there are thousands of videos online of teachers who are showing you how to use it. And literally in 5 minutes, you can learn how to make your own applet in no time. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you. This is going to be, it is one of the PHET. I'm going to choose this one over here. As I said, they've got science ones and they happen to have math ones as well. Here it is. Let's share it. I want to choose, which method of graphs are we doing? Let's do the slope intercept method. Let's click on that. Right. Here is my equation. If I have a straight line and my gradient is 2/3, I'm expecting my line to look like this. And if it says +1, I know it's going to go through the y-axis at 1. Well, let's increase that. Oh, look what happens to the graph. Okay. So the line stays the same slope, but if I just adjust the y value, I can see what's going on. But now, what happens if I make the slope 3/1? Ooh, that's a very steep graph. And what happens if I do -3/1? It's the same steepness, but it's going in a different direction. So once again, I can also move these little pieces over here, and that allows me to adjust the graph as well. So there are lots of very cool tools you can play with, and they allow you to do simulations of physics, high school physics, and science and mathematics exercises. All right, in 8 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all, share the document with you with all the resources. Oh boy, he's really sharing this with me. He's like, there's seriously, I mean, I can just do whatever I like with it. Absolutely, it's yours to do whatever you like with it. I'm going to copy the link. And done. I'm going to share it in the chat. And of course, Joe, you can share this with all of your teachers that were unable to make it today. You can now click on that link. And if you open up that document, Revelation, all the links of all the things I've shown you, but there are 2 or 3 things I want to just quickly point out. And I'm going to actually open up the document so you can see what I've got here. And then you're going to go, oh, thank you so much for putting that on the document as well. Right. Number 1, I put that little trick over there. There was an extra trick that I hadn't shown you, but you can experiment with that. Kahoot.com over there. Whiteboard Chat is one of the things I showed you. Desmos, Geogebra, and PET. Maths 24. Do any of you know Maths 24? Have you ever played the Maths 24 cards before? Yes? No? So imagine a card. It's got 4 numbers on it. You've got to use all 4 numbers to make 24. So let me show you what it looks like. I believe I have it over here somewhere. Oh, I think I opened it up on PowerPoint, but you guys can obviously open it up in whatever you've got there. Let me go to share. Here we go. I've given you a presentation. It's got 33 slides, and you can see how many cards are on each slide. So if we pick this slide over here, let's open it up. Let's pick one of these cards. I'll pick one at random. We've got 2, 6, 3, and 4. We've got to make 24. Right now, that's easy. 6 times 2 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12. Add them together. I made 24. Boom. So you can put that up on the classroom wall. and the kids have got the whole day to see if they could find a way to make 24. Notice 1 dot. 1 dots are the easy ones. Once you start getting to the 2 dots and the 3 dots, then it becomes a little bit more challenging. So if I said to you, we've got 2, 8, 3, and 7. I know that 2 times 8 is 16, 3 times 7, 3 plus 7 is 10. That's going to make 26. That doesn't help me. What else could we do? 7 plus 8 is 15. 15 and no, that's not helping. 21. No, that's not helping. 4 times. Oh, this is not an easy one. So you're going to have to play around with it and see what you can do. And I've given you that PowerPoint. You now have all of those on the slide. And then, of course, your next trick that I want to share with you, I'm just sharing away today. The next one is the Enrich website. If you are looking for enrichment games and things for your students, you can go for the Enrich Maths website over here. If you are looking for high school styled maths and Olympiad problems, you can go to Simon Singh's problem page called Parallel, sign up. Of course, you can do lots of fun interactive activities. These ones you can experiment with yourself. I put QR codes because some teachers, what they do is they put a QR code to a YouTube video from Khan Academy explaining a math concept, so that when their students are actually working through a problem and they don't know how to do it, they can scan the QR code and they've got someone explaining how to do it. Big bonus. And then, of course, we run a math Olympiad from kindergarten up to grade 9. If you would like to receive all the papers, you've got my email details from Joe. Just email me. I'll add you onto the mailing list. You'll get the papers whether you like it or not. We'll just email them to you. But for those of you who are interested, I've put a link to all our past papers from the year 2000 to 2019, from grade R or kindergarten up to grade 9 with worked solutions. So you guys can use it as a wonderful resource in your classroom to stimulate discussions. I've also put over here 70 maths websites that are recommended by teachers for teachers. So you've got a huge load of numbers of resources over there. And finally, that Google Doc over there, this one right over here, Dan Meyer, a legend in mathematics. Here are your 3-act steps over there. Those are his ones that he's collected. These are other people's ones. And of course, you can create your own ones as well. So that in a nutshell, I mean, I've got lots of time, 3 minutes. I could probably still do more, but maybe you will realize that I literally haven't stopped to breathe because I've been moving through. You've just spent 2 hours learning about all these cool tools, and you won't have to remember them because they're all on the Google Doc as well. So if there are any questions that you have, I would love to open it up for questions. And of course, if there are any things you want to learn or know, just contact me. I'm happy to share more things with you. They only gave me 2 hours, the stingy people. But if they gave me more, I would have shown you more. So any questions, feel free to ask. I'm happy to explain anything you would like.
Thank you so much, Steve. I need to emphasize, everyone, we are extremely lucky to have Steve be part of this and share his passion and his knowledge around this amazing subject. And just like Steve shared the Google Doc with everyone here now, if you are watching this recording back, don't worry. If you have signed up to our mailing list, I will make sure that you get all these links as well. I'm going to leave some space in case anyone has some questions for Steve. Whilst they do that, I'm going to share some things in the chat. Here's some silence. That was your silence, everyone. Thank you very much. Again, thank you so much, Steve. I absolutely enjoyed that, and I hope that everyone else that has been watching from all over the world, because we are joining from, well, if we include Steve in our spectrum, we're talking like 12 hours time difference. So it's an absolute joy. We've got to find the silver linings of the quite terrible situation the world finds itself in at the moment, and the fact that we have the opportunity to connect across the time zones is one that I'm holding on to. So it's a pleasure to see everyone, a pleasure to have Steve, and everyone stay tuned to your inboxes, check your junk emails, because I often send it to 400 people at once, and sometimes it gets to your junk email. You will get a message in your inbox from me within the next 12 hours. I have a very small human baby that lives in my house. He's my son. He wakes up early. I will be up early, and I will send you a link.
Awesome, awesome. And of course, you know how to get hold of me. Please don't be shy. Like I tell all my students, if there's something you want to ask, I love it when students ask questions, because it gives me an opportunity to give you an answer if I know it. And if I don't, you're helping me to learn something new. So I love it when people throw things at me. For those of you who are interested, every Friday at 4 p.m. South African time, which will be a crazy hour for you, but at 4 p.m. on Facebook, I have a thing called Flexing Fridays. And if you just go onto Facebook and look for Flexing Fridays, you can sign up. And I've got a Google Sheet there with all the resources that I'm demonstrating. I do a 30-minute little demonstration, and I do literally 3 apps, things that you can use in your classroom, things that you can use as a tool. It might be a website. It might be a trick that you can use with a website that you already have. And I actually explain exactly what you need. And I also give you all the links on how to sign up. And I also put the recording of the video. And of course, that's okay if you joined a little bit late. Remember, you can watch the recording, so you've missed nothing. Of course, if you are playing the Kahoot, you might notice that it has already happened. But that's okay. That's okay, because when you try and log in, you're going to realize it's too late. But what I can do, which is interesting, is I can actually go and allocate that Kahoot as a challenge. And then you can do that on your cell phone at home, and we can make it expire at a certain time. And that way you can always go and have fun going through that Kahoot, trying it on your family and friends and students to see how well they would have done as well.
Beautiful, everyone. Thank you so much, all of you, for your time. I feel extremely lucky to be able to take part in these sessions and speak a little bit at the start and set the scene. So for everyone else, I will hopefully see you again within 1 or 2 weeks with our next session. Steve, who knows? It could be 4 to 5 years again, but I cannot wait.
Why would it be that long?
Well, it was so long in between the last time.
No, I know Graham, who popped in for a couple of seconds earlier. We're busy chatting. We're getting a couple of ideas. And I would love to come to Oz and Malaysia and the Philippines, and whoever else will have me. So when this COVID thing is over, and it will be over, if you just look at the mathematics of it, look at that graph, I think it's eventually going to go like this. When eventually it's over, I think we definitely need to get together. I've already got a couple of invitations for India. So if you are in India, I've got a lot of teacher colleagues in Malaysia who are dying to introduce me to Nasim Gorem and all those lovely, delicious foods. So I'm coming over to eat your food, and I'll show you some maths in return. It sounds like a very good deal to me.
Thank you very much, everyone. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.